All right, so the next thing I just wanted to talk about off the top was Umbrella Academy Season 2. I finished watching that the other day, and I gotta say, for one, I liked it a lot better than Season 1. Um, Not that I didn't like Season 1 by any means. Season 1 was great. But Season 2, I felt like took everything that Season 1 did and built upon it even more in like a much better way. Like everyone's powers were flushed out a lot more. The story I felt was a lot better and a lot less convoluted to some degree. And even so, like just real quick off the top, Rick, and I think you said you hadn't seen Umbrella Academy Season 1 or 2, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. Well, you definitely need to check it out because it too, just like Train to Busan, it is also on Netflix. So
Yeah,
if
I'll definitely
anybody,
check it out.
yeah, if anybody hasn't seen it, definitely check it out. Like it's not your typical like kind of like Train to Busan isn't your typical zombie kind of movie, even though it has a lot of those same beats that a zombie movie will. Umbrella Academy is not your typical like superhero kind of story or TV show. I mean, it has a lot of the beats, but I mean, it's a genre, so obviously you're going to have a lot of the same beats kind of in anything like that. But Umbrella Academy, what really carries it like is the characters. Like they have very diverse characters. All of them are completely individualistic. Like none of them are interestingly enough too, like none of them have like they're not just like rip-offs of other characters. Like for instance, like The Boys is a great show. Like I love The Boys. But I mean those soups are derivative characters essentially of the Justice League for the most part.
They
Like,
really are.
Yes, like some more so than others, but like that's what that's the gimmick, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
that show is. But with Umbrella Academy, like they all have like very like it's stuff you've seen before, but in a very unique way. Like, like this cat right here, the little kid here, he's 5. I'm telling like kind of explaining this kind of to you, Rick, since you haven't seen it, but this kid steals the fucking show from in season 1 and in season 2. Okay, like he is literally you wouldn't expect it, the best character in the show. Like, and he kind of literally does, ironically, kind of lead both seasons. Like he's almost like the main character.
See,
Like,
the one thing I've heard about Umbrella Academy is there's a character. It's one of these guys on screen. I don't know if it's the guy on the right or the left, the one with the long hair. Name starts with a T, I think. And they were saying that like he's the best character in the show.
none of them start with a T.
No, it's one of the long hair guys. I think it's the guy on the right.
This guy,
Yeah.
Klaus.
Klaus, that's what it is. Yeah, it's not.
He's good. He's a lot. I like his character a lot more in season 2. He is a lot cooler of an arc. And
It's
like,
just
I'm not going to get any spoilers. Of
I
this
saw things on Facebook where they were saying like Klaus carries the show.
No,
I don't know.
like,
I've never seen it.
especially not in season 1 because Klaus really didn't have a whole lot to do. There's a little bug flying around, but Klaus didn't have a whole. See, here's the thing: in season 1, it really was 5's show, in my opinion. Like no one else really had a whole lot to do, and no one really kind of like expressed any of their kind of like powers more so than anything. Like for instance, like this girl here, I can't, for whatever reason I can't remember her name, but her power, for instance, Rick, is kind of like it's essentially like mind control to some degree, but she has to. It's called like she rumors people. So the way her power works is she'll come up to you and say, "I heard a rumor," and whatever she says after that, like you do. Like so, if she says, "I heard a rumor that you stop breathing," then you're gonna stop breathing. Like so, it's pretty much just mind control, but with like a unique twist. Like
That's
I would say,
kind of crazy. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like whereas it sounds kind of cheesy and stupid, and it is kind of like cheesy to have to like kind of say that every time you're trying to do your power. That's kind of
I heard a rumor.
yeah, it's kind of the show though. It's really kind of like off the cuff. Like it's honestly like very much a comedy more so than it is. Not,
It's probably a good thing. Though.
it is, and honestly, I'm. It's very akin to The Boys in a lot of ways. Like it is graphic, just like The Boys is, but it's not as like I don't know, not as maybe like on the nose as The Boys is, but it's very like kind of ironic in the same kind of humor that it has. It's got a lot of the same beats. If I had to compare it to a show, I'd call it The Boys, but not as I don't know, like hardcore, if you will.
The dudes, maybe
the what?
The dudes or the kids.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But like season 2, though, just to get back into it, it definitely like they get dropped off in the 60s, right? So like, and like that's all. I'm not like I said, I don't want to do any spoilers if you haven't seen season 1 or season 2, but it takes place in the '60s, and all the characters are there, and it's kind of like interesting just because like obviously the civil rights movement was like a big thing, obviously in the '60s,
Yeah.
and this was filmed obviously prior to it was filmed like a year and a half ago, whatever, like prior to what's kind of going on right now.
Kind of a rebirth of the civil
Yeah, but
rights,
it's
yeah.
like it's literally like kind of worked out really good for them because they find for one, they deal with like the civil rights kind of movement and everything. They weave that kind of story and like there's some beats that go in with it. Like they weave it in and out of the overall, superhero-y plot of the show in like a very good way and to where it's not like it doesn't ever feel like they're trying to make a political statement or stand or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't have that at all. But they in a very like, impactful way have some great scenes kind of like showcasing just how, fucked up all that shit was. Like in all honesty, they have some good stuff in there. So I mean, that was a cool thing, and it really, like I said, worked out for them really well. Just with kind of like the current climate, like it just kind of like sheds a little bit even more light. It just kind of goes hand in hand with it. So I mean, that was really cool. Um, and then it does like, and you've seen from the trailers, like so in the first season, since you haven't seen it, like in the first season, our characters here are pretty much their overall main goal is trying to stop the apocalypse to some capacity.
Can't blame
Again,
them.
without spoilers. But so like in this season two, it starts off with like that same kind of plot, like, oh god, we got to stop the apocalypse again, and like we're the cause of it again, like because that was kind of the thing. It was literally the same thing as the first season, and it starts off and like you think like, okay, well here we go again. It just seems like they're retreading the same thing. Um, but the way they actually tell the story and the way they like, I don't know, just kind of explain the who, what, when, where's, and whys, and they kind of just like I said, like weave a lot of these like beats in and the way they tell this. It's really good, and I could see a lot of people who maybe watch season one and then go to watch season two, and you're just like, again, like you're just gonna do the apocalypse thing again, like, and I could see people being kind of turned off from that, but like I assure you, like I don't know, like it's not the same thing. Like it's absolutely not the same thing. They introduce some new characters. There's some characters other than our main cast. There's some returning characters from season one. Um, I don't know the way it ended. It sets up the third season in a really good and compelling way, and really ties in the whole "we need to save the world" thing. Right? The ending sets up to where the third season isn't really going to be like that.
Yeah.
Without giving anything away. Like you can tell the way where it ends, it's very on the nose of how that season's gonna start out. And it's clearly not going to be an apocalyptic kind of event, but it's going to be a very it seems like the next season might be a little bit more of a personal thing than this season is. Like I'm not gonna get into spoilers or anything, so you just gotta
Sure.
watch it to see. And the cool thing is too with how it ends in that final scene, because that's the final scene sets up the next season. But when you actually go back and look at it, it all like you realize that they kind of foreshadowed everything like leading up to that event, but it's not a predictable thing.
Yeah.
Like it almost kind of hits you in like not so much of an M Night Shyamalan kind of twist because it's not so much a twist, but it's just like a hmm. Well, that makes
Well, how
perfect
about
fucking
that?
sense.
Yeah.
Like I totally get why that would be happening. Like that's good, and it leaves you wanting more. Like they did a really good job of wrapping up the entire story of season 2 in a good, compelling way,
Yeah.
and then teasing the third season also in a very good and compelling way. So, all in all, again, Umbrella Academy season 2 on Netflix. Check it out. It's really good. Anyone who hasn't seen it, definitely go give it a watch. I literally watched it all in like a day,
I
essentially.
I'll probably watch it later or
Like
tomorrow.
it was really good.
Yeah.
And like if you had any if you were even on the fence about season 1, like you're like, "Ah, it was okay, but I didn't really like it." Give season 2 a try because like I'm telling you it is a lot better. And like if you're more into like the superhero-y kind of thing, then they do flush out the characters and their powers a lot more. Like just a lot more. So I mean, you can even get a. I will say though, the very opening scene, and they did release this like pre the show coming out. They released the opening scene as like a kind of a teaser, and it showcases pretty much the whole group just going balls to the walls with their powers. It was pretty much like the portal scene in Endgame, but with these
Yeah.
characters. You don't get that again really for the whole series, unfortunately. Like, it was like and that was kind of a bummer. Like, you still get a lot of it, and there's a really good fucking scene at the end that lets them really showcase their powers as a whole again, but it's, like, nowhere near as, like, fluid as that opening scene is. Because the opening scene was seriously like them being, like, the Justice League or the Avengers. Like, it was just them wrecking shop with their powers, and that was, like, kinda the only, like I wouldn't call it a detractor because I really like the story and I like the characters, but I would like to see more of that. And I think with how they set up season 3 and everything, season 3 is more than likely going to really showcase that stuff a lot more. So that's pretty much all I had. That was my quick review of Umbrella Academy season 2, guys. So, have you guys seen Umbrella Academy season 2? If you did see it, what did you think of it? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you haven't seen it, let me know why you didn't like it. What didn't you like about it? You just don't like the characters, you not like how everything's set up. Just let me know down in the comment section below.